So I've been a student for about 14 years of my life, and I've realized that while school taught me a lot about the Pythagorean theorem and metaphors and similes, there are a lot of lessons that school didn't teach me that younger me probably would have benefited from. So if you're in middle school or high school, or maybe even in college and beyond, this video will be very valuable for you. Life lesson number 1 is that no one really cares about you. Now, one of my favorite quotes that perfectly encapsulate this is from Maya Angelou, where she says, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." At its core, it basically means that you need to stop worrying like a little nerd and realize that people don't really care about what you said in the moment, but rather how you made them feel in the moment. Because the reality is that everyone has their own problems to worry about, and they have better things to think about than that one time you started in a conversation 2 years ago. All of this to say, I don't mean to be mean, but literally just mind your own business. And in the very slim chance that they actually are thinking about you, their opinion of you doesn't really matter that much, because if there's that little going on in their life in order to think ill of you in that moment, then their opinion just really is not worth your time. So be nice to everyone you encounter, and even if you do slip up a couple times in a conversation, people are going to remember you as that nice person who made them feel good, and that's honestly what really matters. The second life lesson you need to realize is that everyone is better than you. So back in middle school, I was taking an accelerated math course for algebra, and while I was struggling a lot with the concepts at the beginning of the year, I can tell you I was getting absolutely smoked by like all the smart Asian and Indian kids. And this really hurt my fragile 12-year-old ego, and I had this really weird mentality that I was just somehow not destined to do well in school because everyone else was just so much better than me. And for those of you who have this same mentality and are just scared of chasing after your goals because you don't think you have what it takes, how do I put this lightly to you? You are 100% correct. You are inexperienced right now, and you probably don't have what it takes. And honestly, you will probably fail a lot along your journey. But let me tell you this. The thing is that this is the exact same situation that everyone who has gone on this journey has been on before. No matter what new activity you try, there's always going to be hundreds, thousands, even millions of people who are going to be better than you and are going to be further along on their journey. Like when I started this channel, I already knew there were millions of other people in my niche that were already going to be better than me. And it took me like a solid month just to get like 10 subscribers. But looking back on it now, I'm really proud that I even tried going on this journey in the first place, even if the odds were against me. And in my experience, it's better to try something and take a few falls along the way than to look at that moment years later and think about what you could have been had you tried. The third life lesson is to be okay with no, but be open to yes. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that's really embarrassing just to make a point. So earlier in the school year, I was waiting at my bus stop, and I noticed that the person next to me on their backpack had a pin that was the same school that I went to. So it took me like a solid 3 minutes just to get the courage to go up to them and start talking to them. And I swear, if there was an award for carrying a conversation, then I would have won it that day. Because this girl was giving me like 2-word responses, and the conversation literally died in like a minute. Oh my gosh, that was such a bad time. What I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, people are going to reject you, and not everyone is going to want to talk to you, and that's perfectly okay. Even the most confident people in the world get rejected from job applications or just random conversations with people on the street. But the difference is that these individuals don't take these rejections personally, and that even if they do get rejected, they're willing to bounce back and keep striving towards their goals. In the end, it's ultimately you who has the power to make new friends and connections, even if not everyone is going to want to be that person for you. On the flip side, I want you to also be open to saying yes. If people invite you to go out and do stuff or go out to an event, instead of sitting indoors and playing Fortnite for the rest of the night, I want you to say yes. If you're afraid of applying to a job or a cool position because you think you're not good enough, well, like I said before, you're probably right. But the more I thought about this over the years, the more I've started to realize that in these situations, you really have nothing to lose. And that one time you say yes to a club meeting could be the one thing that gives you access to a whole world of opportunities and that you never could have even imagined. On that same note comes my next point, which is the fourth life lesson, that finding the right people is hard. If you're a student who's having a really hard time finding people to connect with or finding friends and new people to hang out with, that's totally okay, and that's honestly supposed to happen. I want you to realize that hanging out with lots of different groups of people doesn't make you a bad friend. And if anything, I want you to go out and meet with as many different groups as possible to figure out the kind of people that you really love connecting with. Be that person who's accepting of everybody, and over time, through a process of trial and error, you'll figure out the kind of person that you want to be as well. The fifth tip, which is something that I've struggled a lot with, is the fact that you don't have to be doing everything all the time. Now, I struggle with this even now because one of my biggest insecurities is that I'm not doing enough. Essentially, working yourself to the bone has kind of become the norm, and that's honestly a really toxic way to live your life. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place to actually do your work and be productive, but what I am saying is that there's also a time and a place to take breaks and relax throughout your day, which will ultimately help you become more productive in the future. You don't constantly have to be busy all the time, and taking some time for yourself definitely is not unproductive. So take the time to do the hobbies and activities you love, and of course, also take the time to do the work when it really matters. My sixth life lesson for you is to be willing to try everything. Now, one of the things I wish I would have done a lot more when I was younger is just going out and trying more things. And I know that it sounds really scary, but clubs in like middle school and high school are literally just cheat codes for making new friends. And also realize that while you should go out and try everything, that also doesn't mean you have to stick with everything that you try. Just try out an activity for like a month, and if you don't like it, just go on and move to the next one. So be open to trying out new things, and your future self will thank you for figuring out the kind of things that you love and also getting rid of the things that you don't. Now, the last life lesson that I want to mention that I think people don't remember as often as they should is to be your own best friend. Now, I don't mean to antagonize you at all, but I want you to realize that throughout the course of being a student and juggling all these different responsibilities, it's really easy to forget that the world doesn't revolve around us. So when I say to be your own best friend, I mean it in two ways, both to yourself and to others. I want you to be kind to yourself and to monitor your own self-talk. Whenever you find that you're like absolutely roasting yourself in your head for like being a stupid idiot, I want you to think about if you would ever actually say something like that to anyone in real life. If you wouldn't be that mean or cruel to your peers, then there's absolutely no reason that you should be being that mean to yourself. On the second point, be your own best friend to others. I know it sounds cliche, but be the person that you'd want to be friends with. When you have this reputation of always positively speaking about others, like I said before, people are going to remember how you made them feel. And to end things off with a cheesy quote, as Michael Jackson liked to say, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. But that about wraps it up for this one. I know this was a different style of video that I usually make, but if you guys liked it, be sure to let me know. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. It's always appreciated. And as always, go out and take these lessons and make yourself and the world a better place. And I'll see you in the next one.